There are a great many people who feel that if we change our form of government, or at least if we change our party from one to the other power, whichever it may be, this will give us a solution to all our problems. It has never solved our problems in the past. The men who began our system of government had a great consciousness of God. Although a man like Thomas Jefferson was a deist, I pointed out that that's not true, and most of Thomas Jefferson and most of the founding fathers believed in the sovereignty of God. They would have never have said that if or implied the sovereignty of God if they were deist, and could that is a myth that's propagated by the propaganda of the communists, and that may have been the reason that this didn't have any volume because of my comments in this section. YouTube may not have liked it and they just muted me. And could not be called a born again believer and had a conviction that the Bible was the Word of God and he respected it. I don't find that in our leadership today, and yet we wonder why this system won't work. We think we need to change that system. Do you know what we need? We need to change men's hearts. It is man that needs changing, not the system. The high priest orders Paul smitten on the mouth, and Paul speaks out against him very strongly. This should dispel the idea that Paul was some sort of panty waist. The concept that humility makes a person a sort of Mr. Milquetoast is all wrong. Actually, humility and meekness means that you submit yourself to the will of God regardless of the cost. Paul is a meek man and a humble man, but he is not about to take injustice lying down. He calls this man a whited wall. While you are judging me according to the Mosaic law, you are breaking the law yourself. That reveals that Paul also knew the law. A man cannot be condemned or punished before judgment has been handed down. And we've seen that recently, and that's another comment I made yesterday. Verse 4, and they that stood by said, revilest thou God's high priest? Paul didn't know this man was the high priest. Certainly he would recognize the high priest on sight. Before his conversion, he had been a Pharisee in Jerusalem. I think this is another evidence that Paul had an eye disease and didn't see well. As we go in the epistles, we will find another statement which indicates that Paul had trouble with his vision. Verse 5, then said Paul, I wist not, brethren, that he was the high priest, for it is written, thou hast not spoken evil, thou shalt not speak evil of the ruler of thy people. Paul knew the law. He knew every detail of it. He knew that the law said that rulers were to be respected. This is something else that we have forgotten today. I personally believe that the President of the United States, regardless of who he is or how bad he is, ought never to be made the subject of a cartoon. He should not be ridiculed because of the position he holds. We should respect the office. As a human being needs to respect authority, Paul wrote, render therefore to all their duties tribute to whom tribute is due, custom to whom custom, fear to whom fear, and honor to whom honor. Romans chapter 13 and verse 7. It is interesting that he wrote this at a time when Nero was on the throne in Rome, and Nero was a madman.